Free Yourself Fridays. What is up, fam? Just a second ago, I talked about the whole unrequited love thing, and I'm posting that first. So, look, we're going to talk about purity culture. If you don't follow me on social media, it's star_brain. You can also find me on Facebook. I also read tarot. You can check out those videos by your sign, sun, moon, rising, and pretty soon Venus. That's right. I'm going to start possibly doing those love readings, but we'll see. There's a lot going on. But anyway, with that being said, these are Tea Talks. You could still write them in the same journal for Tea Talk Tuesdays, and so on and so forth. So anyway, today, like you said in the title, we are going to talk about purity culture. Now, this is something that's really personal to me. This is something that's just kind of like why? But I feel like it needs to be talked about because I don't think that, I've heard Christians talk about it, but I haven't heard people who, and I've heard like non-Christians talk about it, but I haven't heard people who were Christians and no longer Christians talking about it and talking about how it kind of fucked us up a little bit in the head and how it kind of still fucks with us sometimes, and we're just tired of ironically getting fucked. So here we go. Now, if you're not aware of what purity culture is, it is based in the fundamental Christian church. I come from, by choice at 13, from an Assembly of God background. Now, I'm not trying to diss on the Assemblies of God at all. It's just that I had a very painful experience in your church if you're watching this. And I think that some things just shouldn't be taught. So, and that's just my opinion. You don't have to follow it, and you probably won't. But I'll just start out with what kind of got me thinking about this. And that was the whole I Kissed Dating Goodbye. The author, which name I cannot remember for the life of me. I burnt my book. I literally had 2 journals full of notes from that book, and the Bible crossed over, and I've highlighted the book, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. Tossed it in the fire, along with a book called Captivating, which we might talk about some other time. But so what really got me going with this is that he actually stopped the printing of the book, and he actually started he apologized. He understood how it affected a generation of young people, because I promise you, it was pretty much handed out with the Bible. And I'm not saying that it didn't help some people who, whatever. But anyway, he actually made a hashtag that was, I survived I Kissed Dating Goodbye. It was huge for me because I never thought I'd see the day. And I was like, man, and it made me start kind of reflecting on it. It's been a while. I burnt the book literally, and I was just like, oh, that's done. And it just wasn't. I was still being affected to this day. So, yes, it's based in Christianity. So if you're not aware of this, you probably won't understand, but it might be interesting for you to hear how this works. Now, it all starts with me, a purity ring. I cannot tell you how hammered into my head from the beginning it was to wait till marriage. And I'm not going to diss anybody who chooses to do that on their own accord, not because of any kind of dogma or anything like that. If you haven't been in a position where you loved someone and you wanted to share yourself with someone like that, then it's pretty easy to say no. But let me tell you, it's not. And the thing is, from the very get-go, it's about purity, especially in the youth group, young adults. It's just so prominent. We talk on other subjects, but for some reason, everything just leads back to sex. It creates this weird obsession with sex, this unhealthy ideas of relationships, sex, and perfection, and purity, and all this bullshit. I mean, this shit was real. And I still have a slight line. You guys probably can't see it on the camera or anything, of where I have worn a ring on this finger, even in marriage, right after marriage, because I was still a Christian after I got married or got divorced. And it's still there because I wore it for so long. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to wait till marriage. And I didn't, by the way. Because then and I didn't really think about sex a whole lot before I started going to church. I wasn't even sure about how it worked, to be honest. Like, I was a victim of rape and molestation. So obviously I knew how that worked, but I didn't think about it much. You know what I mean? I wasn't obsessed with it. Didn't really cross my mind until I started going to church. Kind of ironic. So they create this culture where you are taught all kinds of shenanigans. So not only are you taught about purity and all this shit, and just how, not just waiting till marriage, it's also, because I Kissed Dating Goodbye took it one step further. Like, literally, in youth group, sometimes it would be boys on one side and girls on the other. You weren't even encouraged to be in the same room alone. It was like against cosmic Christian law to be in the same room together, because obviously if you're a boy and a girl, you're just gonna fuck. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like, sorry about it. You can't just be friends and you have absolutely no self, discipline. It's just inherently just, you have none. We're going to completely discredit you off the bat. You weren't encouraged to have friends of the opposite sex, even though I think it's very important to have a tribe of, for example, I am a woman. I identify as a woman, as a feminine. And I love, I didn't have a whole lot of girlfriends in high school. I did towards the end. But my main friend was a guy. I went over to his house and stayed the night. And we never did anything. And we were best friends. And I still love him to this day. He's just fantastic. He's a fantastic person. Love you, Siege. And we never did anything. And this is what I'm talking about. It creates these stories in our heads that, for some reason, where we have no control over ourselves. And guys and girls weren't even, really allowed to be friends without it being frowned upon, or you're a couple. If you're friends with each other, you have to be a couple. Because, that shit don't happen. You aren't just friends. And it also creates this obsession with, like I said, sex and sexuality, sexual orientation. Okay. Just gonna. Can't. Anyway, I gotta go on this rant. For some reason, because for some reason sex is just put on a pedestal in this culture. If you're gay, it's in any way. I don't really talk about it. I did on Facebook because I was asked this question, which I will do a video of a Q&A. Eventually, I have the questions saved and stuff, but I'm always asked, what is your sexual orientation? And my entire life, and I kept it secret, of course, while I was a Christian, and I didn't know a name for it. I didn't feel like it was necessary. Why? I'm so much more. Is demisexual. And that's, it's are you gay, straight, or bi? And it's yes. Just yes. Demi, is where I have to have an emotional tie. I think that comes from the abuse, the sexual abuse. It's a trust thing, as well as I'm also an emotional person. And so I have to kind of have that to really engage fully, and enjoy it. And pan is just I have a species and age limit, and that's it. It doesn't matter. And that's what I identify as, and that would still be wrong. It would still be completely wrong to them. And it's just insane. So there's this obsession with sex, but there's also like this obsession with in sexual orientation, and also a weird like fascination with like innocence. It's almost sick. Like whenever I look at it, I'm just like, what? Because here's the thing, and I'm gonna go from both sides, because both, you know, those who identify, you know, in this world, it's male and female. Like, good luck changing their minds. Not all Christians. I know that they're actually coming out with churches and stuff that like include the LGBT plus community, and I am so excited for that. I'm not a Christian, so I won't be there, but I'm excited about it. And I think it's awesome. But in purity culture, in this fundamental church society, in this little corner of the universe, it is boys and girls, and that is it. We have a book for the boys and we have a book for the girls. We have Wild at Heart and we have Captivating, and then we have all the I Kissed Dating Goodbye series in the middle. That is how it works. And so girls are, look, girls are seen, have this pressure to be pure, untouched. Like, we don't enjoy sex. And for some reason, there's a little more leniency on the guys because they have a dick. Okay, I may need to be like emotionally like there, but once I'm there, I'm there. Thank you. Love it. Love every bit of it. Just you know what I mean? And it's just like, for some reason, girls aren't allowed to like sex. They aren't allowed to open up about what they want sexually and how wonderful it feels, and how they just, you know what I mean? You got a dick, it's like, here's your free like pass, and then you're a woman, it's like, no. You must be pure. You must be innocent. Dress modest. And I'm just over here like, don't tell me what to fucking do. And it's ridiculous, honestly. But there is this pressure. I just keep saying ridiculous. So if someone's watching out there that has no clue what this is, I know it sounds, but this is literally how it is. You know, boys kind of get a break a lot of times. Like, I understand that they have a lot of pressure as well, and I will get to that. You know, but it's really focused on women about purity and innocence and being untouched. So save yourself for marriage. And you're cheating on your husband if you even date somebody different. Yeah, you heard me right. I told you. And you know, I saw one of my friends actually told me about this person, and I'm sure they meant well. There's almost a pride in your virginity, and if you somehow are no longer a virgin, you got to re-virginize yourself. And she said it said in the quote that, you know, pretty much no one wants a tree that's a peach that's fallen from the tree and it's like rotting and stuff like that. You know, there's these little things where they show, like, they take a chocolate bar and they're just like, oh, if you give keep giving a piece of yourself away, you know, this chocolate bar to everybody, you'll have nothing to give your husband. And it's like, bitch, I'll just buy a new chocolate bar. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I get the what you're saying, but it's so toxic. And going back to the peach thing, no one wants a peach that has fallen off the tree. No one wants a peach that's been bitten into. And it's like, but not everybody likes peaches. Ever heard of that quote? And so women are expected to be this person for their husbands. And now we're going to switch over to the guys, where it is expected of them to constantly pursue, to constantly validate, you know? And I know that they say, oh no, God's my validation. It's like, bitch, God lives within you, as you. I know that sounds weird, but if you were to embody love and God is love, I mean, put them together. You are to validate yourself. But for some reason, guys have this pressure to always make the first move. They have to put their heart on the line. They have to always measure up to these things. They always have to sacrifice everything. They always have to like yada, 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 yada. So, you know, it's not fair to guys either. You know, and eventually I've seen these girls demand it. Now, I feel like, and this is just from what I've observed, it may not be true, but I feel like, the girls are split in two, where there are these girls that sit pretty. They are literally the essence of like purity and what it looks like, even if they're a complete cunt, but whatever. It's just like, whatever. Anyway, so it's like split down between two. I have no hard feelings at all. I'm working through it. Be patient with me. So, you know, we have, I'm sorry, it just makes me laugh after a while. We have the girls that, you know, are the ideal. You know, if you've ever been in this culture at all, my friend Katie could probably actually stand by me on this. There's like a certain breed. Sorry. It's just, they almost have a certain vibe about them. I don't even want to say a certain look. It's a vibe, sometimes a look, but a certain vibe. You're just like, yeah, you belong here. Like, it's just like this, you don't want to put them in a box, but they like kind of jumped into the box and they like it. And you're just kind of like, yeah, that's probably the ones that are going to get married first. And have all the kids and shit. And then you have other girls over here. You know, these girls demand being chased. If there's anything less than chasing, they want nothing to do with you. And it has to be constant validation. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like if someone isn't showing interest and you're not like, it's just, they're not kind of like, it's not a flow kind of relationship, then yeah, maybe it shouldn't happen. But to constantly seek validation from your significant other, have him chase you over and over and over, him doing things over and over and over, and then you're just sitting there like looking pretty, like you're not supposed to do shit. Bitch, like what? And then there's these girls over here, which I was a part of, that maybe they're a little outspoken. Maybe, you know, maybe they just kind of like, they don't blend in. They're not the ideal look for this purity thing. Maybe they've had sex before. Maybe they're just, they give off like sexual energy and it's intimidating for some reason. I think it's great. But, you know, it's just, we're so like choked on sexuality. It's just ridiculous. But, if you're into that, couldn't help it. But I feel like there's these girls over here that will actually chase. Okay? That will chase because there's this romanticized ideal with God that you're constantly chasing God. And, you know, especially if you haven't felt love, let's say you're not like the world's version of pretty, or even this culture's like version of pretty, and you're constantly having to like search for validation in this chase. And it's the same, it will reflect like, you know, I'm not sure which video I'm going to post first actually after recording this, but I am doing one on unrequited love. And you know, that chase is going to reflect your relationships. That relationship you have with yourself, that relationship you have with source, with God, is going to reflect how you love and who you love. And I feel, and I was caught in the trap before where I actually chased somebody because I was always chasing God, and this person this person was the embodiment of God's love. And it's just like, oh, so I chase, right? And it's just all fucked up. But I feel like there's like that one side, and then there's girls who just sit all pretty, and guys have to deal with that. I'm sorry. I am, on behalf of the masses, I am sorry to all you guys who had to deal with that. Had to like put your heart on the line. And all those girls who felt like you had to chase, put your heart on the line. Because we're so fucked up about it. We aren't allowed to date, you know, so we settle. We rush into marriages. We don't have time to figure out what we like and who we want in our lives. And the thing is we are changing so much as people every fucking day, or we should be growing. And yet we're encouraged to choose somebody in this state that possibly won't grow with us. And that's not always the case. Look at Gunger. If you're not a Christian, you probably won't know who they are. They make fantastic music. I still listen to them today. But they were a Christian, like, duo. Like, they did everything by the book. And I love their story. And they, you know, I think she's still a Christian. And he is just an atheist. You know, like, just went ahead and just went to the other side. I'm in between. But it's just kind of like, but they make it work. And they love each other. And they support each other. And they were growing together. And that's rare. That's rare to find. And I feel like a lot of times in this culture, that's not something that we look for. We're looking for someone that, especially if you're deprived of sex, if you're deprived of, you know, that sexual part of yourself that's really natural. I mean, I understand that there are unhealthy tendencies with sexuality that some people play at to validate and fulfill. And that's another video. I'm talking about healthy sexuality, educated sexuality, sensuality, the everything in between, not just the act itself, but the emotions, the intimacy, everything that goes along with it. And that's what I'm touching on right now. We're not talked about, like, we're just taught in this culture that it's right and that it's wrong. And if we do it, we're not being loyal to our partner that we haven't met before. And that, you know, it's bad, it's wrong. And then, like, they might sneak a little thing in here and saying, sex is really good, it's really great within marriage, you know, and you're just confused. You're just confused. Do I date or do I not? Is this person right? Is this person wrong? And then it gets so into your subconscious that it's hard to filter what they taught you and what you truly think anymore. And that is why I'm making this video about your sexuality. You don't have to let the world know what you prefer. You might want to let your partner know. But it's just, you know, if you were caught in this world and you still have to deal with it like I do, you know, the confusion. I still find myself being afraid of being wrong. I find reasons to run. I had unhealthy relationships because I had no personal boundaries. It's just one of those things. And it's time to heal from that. And if you aren't involved in this culture and you're just watching this for kicks, I mean, welcome. Like, yes, this is a real thing. And welcome to our life. And we're still learning and we're still healing. And if you are still in this culture and you're watching this video, look, if it works for you, that's great. All I'm asking is that you reflect on it. And if you feel defensive, you might want to check yourself out. Check your heart. I'm just trying to speak your language. So, spiteful, I'm sorry. I do not agree. If you are a Christian and you're watching this, this won't apply to you because I am no longer a Christian. And I do not like your perception of God, and I don't believe in it. So I don't see how this would serve you, but I hope that if it opened your mind up to checking yourself out, like what you truly believe, and if this works for you, then that's great. If it doesn't work for you, I hope you actually admit it. If you have gone through this, you're no longer a Christian, or maybe you are a Christian, but you're like, I don't like agree with the ideals. The thing is, you don't have to. I feel like it's time to really reflect on knowing that you could still be this Christ follower and still choose your own path. You can still do that. I've seen it done. You know, it's just the limitations that people put upon you. You have to take them off. You have to take off the roof. You have to take off the hat. You got to take off the badge. You have to put it all away and start over. I, for one, I don't think I can ever go back to Christianity just because I don't believe in like some of the fundamental things of it like I used to. But if you aren't a Christian and you used to be and you're still healing from this, I am going to pull a few cards here. Just some guidance from Spirit, God, whatever resonates with you about this. because I feel like we do need some kind of messages. I do read tarot. If I didn't say that in the beginning, hey, yeah, I do that. You can check out some videos. I do beginning of the month and mid-monthly readings, so you can check that out. Wow. Divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. So yes, I feel like with that card, you know, it's funny because Mary's on it and Jesus. So I feel like this message is like supported by these higher beings. Break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. Another thing about this is a lot of the ideals in the Bible were in the past when women had absolutely no rights, and like just check history, okay? Figure out how all those fears, because that's another thing it does. It instills. You hear that southern accent coming out? It instills fear, which is a vibe we don't need to be living in. So that is definitely something I think should be considered as well. See how you need to break these chains upon yourself. Protection, call back your power, cut cords. So this is perfect, you guys. Call back your power, because being a sexual person myself, even though like, yeah, I like there's certain things, but I am a very sexual person. I just am, always have been. It's also about personal power. It's like, this is me, this is what I like, this is what I do, this is who I do. You know what I mean? And it's calling back your personal power and understanding that it's not a negative attribute of yourself. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to hide from. Look at that. Not something to block out of your life. It's just a part of you, fam. And not a shameful one. I'm just gonna pull one more. Come on, Spirit. You want to talk, or shall I just pull a card? There we go. Well, hey. Okay. The one that fell out was Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? So, is it ironic that this is Mary? I feel like with that card, like I said, a lot of us, when we're in this culture, we think of just the physical attribute. We don't think of the emotional. We don't think of the spiritual. You know, except the fact that you're creating ties and you're giving your chocolate away. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. You know, spiritual ties. You know, and the beauty that comes with sharing yourself in this way. Leap, you go first. The universe will catch you. So releasing these fears, awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. That is beautiful. Like I said, if you're still a Christian and you're wondering how to like integrate this into your life, and really check yourself, make sure it's like something you want to do for yourself, because you honestly think it's going to serve your highest good. But don't get attached to it. Understand that you do change, and relationships do change you, and that is okay. Change is okay. So tired of like, it's just change is okay. Answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? So you may, that's kind of a weird card to come up in this reading, but I feel I'm getting the message that if there is somebody that you're avoiding because of like sexual attraction, maybe you haven't dealt with these wounds that have left you from this culture, afraid of getting it wrong, I think it's time to like take a step. Like I'm seeing the Fool's card in my head, and I'm like take a leap of faith. Like just kind of do your thing, feel it out. It doesn't have to go perfect. It doesn't have to go exactly according to plan, in terms of like, you know, who you connect with. Don't be fearful, and connecting with yourself as well. Like, what is your soul telling you to do? What is your soul telling you about this subject, about purity, about sex, about love, and everything connected in between? Okay? Well, I love you guys, and that is all I have for you today. I hope you like this. Like I said, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm there all the time. Feel free to follow me on there and stuff like that. Watch the videos. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.